During this training session, we're going to be discussing the facility maintenance request. It's a new procedure that we have for putting in the maintenance requests online. Beginning September 1st of 2019, this will be the only method that will be accepted for entering maintenance requests. You will not be able to put the old paper form requests in any longer after that time. This training is specifically for directors and supervisors. You have a couple more things that you may want or need to do for a maintenance request. However, the same basic training that general staff are receiving is the first two steps that we're going to be going over today. So in Relias, you should also have a link to a document called Facility Maintenance Request Procedures. This one is specifically for directors and supervisors. So if you have that opened up or if you've had that printed out, please review that as we go along through. Again, just a general reminder that beginning September 1st of 2019, the online form will be the only method of putting in a facility maintenance request. No longer will the paper forms be accepted after September 1st. To open a facility maintenance request is a simple two-step process. First thing is we're going to check to see if somebody has already opened up a request for that same item. And if there's not a request open on it, then step two is going to be opening up that maintenance request form. So let's take a look at step one here. So prior to opening a new facility maintenance request, verify that there is not currently an open request for the same issue for this facility. A couple different ways that we can go into it. You're going to be looking at the Erie work orders or Warren work orders or Ridgeway work orders, the open work orders for those areas. You're going to see an icon on your desktop that will look similar to this. So you may have one here that looks like open work orders for Erie. Also, it will be available if you go to LU, under Forms and Documentation, Facility Maintenance Requests, you will see here links for those same things. So the Erie maintenance requests or open maintenance requests, Ridgeway open maintenance requests, or Warren open maintenance requests. So today for this training, I'm going to pretend that I am in the Erie region. And the issue that I'm having is I work at Colorado, and the sink is stopped up in the kitchen. The water will not drain out of it, and so I need to open up a request form so that maintenance can come in and fix that sink. So step one, if we're going back through our documentation, step one is to check to see if somebody else has already opened it up. Again, whether or not I choose to use the link here on LU or the link on the desktop, it's going to get me to the same place. Since I opened up the one for Erie, I'm going to see just the open requests. These are the ones that had not been completed yet. For the Erie region, I'm going to see the different facilities that are listed here. If I look, I can see that there is something open for Colorado. If I click on the arrow in front of it, open that up, I'll see that there is a request open. Now in this case here, again, remember this is for training purposes, so the information in here is not real. I have not used consumers' names within here. Once we're ready to go live, all this old data will be taken out of here. Again, that date is September 1st. So if I look here, the only thing that's open is we have a bedroom move that needs to be done for that facility. So I know that there's not one that is open here. I'm going to close this back up. Come back to our documentation then, I go down to step two. I'm going to open up a facility maintenance request. Again, I have the options. I can go to LU, Forms and Documentation, Facility Maintenance Requests, and we'll see the first thing here, Facility Maintenance Request Form. Or on your computer, if you have a maintenance request form here, I can double click on this and open it up. This should be very similar to what you used to fill out on paper. The nice thing with this is once it's done, there is no having to worry about how do you get that to maintenance. Do you have to send it through in-house mail? Do I need to take it up to Tom's desk? What happened to it once it was there? Once I complete this, I hit click on save. maintenance is immediately notified that there is a new request here. So let's look and see again in the instructions here. So I've opened up the new form. You can see that there are some required fields here on the form. Region, facility, date and time of the request, brief description of the request, location of the facility, and the person making the request are required in order for you to click the Save button. If you haven't filled out those required fields, it will not let you save it. There's one additional field here, and we're going to be discussing that a little bit in a couple minutes here, but that is if there is a certain date that something needs to be completed by. So let's go back and let's look at the form here. So region, I'm going to click the down arrow. I'm going to select the Erie region. Facility, again, selecting the facility, Colorado. Date and time is going to pre-fill for you. It's going to have the current day that you're going into it and the closest hour. It is currently 12:58 p.m. and so it's going to choose 1 o'clock p.m. So it's going to be the next closest hour onto that. Here's that question here. Is there a date that something needs to be completed by? Enter the date and time. The only time you're going to put information in this is if there is an outside entity that is requiring that something be done by a certain date and time. For example, I have a consumer who has a new ISP that is requiring that they are moved to a different facility and different bedroom on a certain date. So if I'm putting in that the bedroom needs to be painted prior to that consumer moving in, then I would put in a date and time that that needs to be completed by so that we know that that bedroom is repainted and ready for that consumer to move in on that date. Otherwise, we do not fill in this date required time. That's only if it's something that is being pushed by an outside entity with that. Next thing, again, if you look, we have red stars going down through that shows you what things are required. Notice there's not a red star next to it. Is there a date to be completed by? Next thing is brief description of request. So again, I'm pretending that I'm at Colorado and that the kitchen sink is stopped up there. So I'm going to say sink will not drain, water will not go down. Location in the facility. Kitchen. If we just simply said the sink is stopped up, is it the bathroom sink? Is it the sink down in the laundry room? Which sink is it? So we need to be specific as to where that sink is at, so in the kitchen. Last thing I'm going to do is to put the name of the person that's making the request. Here for this training, I'm going to pretend that I am Carlin. So begin typing my name and I put my name in on that. Notice from here it says below is to be completed by maintenance. So all I have to do is click on the save. But while I'm in here, let's take a quick look here. We're going to get to this in a second here. If maintenance, once they receive notification of this, if they determine that something needs to be approved, they're going to click on yes on this. And then you're going to have to approve it. Other things that are in here is as far as when something is completed, yes or no, and the date and who completed it by, and some information about the repairs on there. Once it's done, I click on save. As long as everything's been filled in completely on it, it's going to save that to the system. Special note here, only one request item per request. So if I know that the sink is stopped up and I need maintenance to come fix it, and there's a light bulb that needs to be changed, that's two different requests. If you put two requests on the same facility maintenance request form, it will be returned to you to be redone as two separate requests. Also, in order for something to be done, there must be an open request form in the system. So if maintenance comes to fix that stopped sink, and while they are there, you say, hey, while you're here, can you change this light bulb for me? If there is not a request open for it, they will not be able to change that light bulb for you. However, if you can jump on the computer while they're fixing the sink for you And if they have time while they are there, again, sometimes they only have limited amounts of time that they can be at your facility. So if they have time and you go to the computer and you put in the maintenance request form so that they can see it, they're able to pull this up on their phones, then they can complete that additional task for you. So if you have more than one request, or if you do not have an open request, maintenance will not be able to complete that for you. So again, two-step process. Check to see if there's something open already. If not, open up a request form for it. Again, you can open up the request form by an icon on your desktop or from Lou. Now, when is a time that you do not need to open a maintenance request form online? Never. You always need to open up a maintenance request form online. However, one exception to the rule is this. If it is something that deals with health, safety, welfare, is of imminent damage or imminent danger, then please pick up the phone first and call the maintenance hotline or maintenance page and number and let them know about that as soon as possible. Then while you're waiting for them to come, then go into the system and put in the maintenance request form online. So again, if it deals with health, safety, welfare, something of imminent damage or imminent danger, then you're going to pick up the phone and call the maintenance pager number, and then still you're going to go in through and complete one of these tasks or one of these open request forms. As a director or supervisor, you may have to do one other step after this. So let's say that one of the things that happened, and we'll pretend here that I'm in Erie and that I had opened up a request for Cold Spring and there was damage to the front steps that need to be repaired. However, the cost is above the threshold that maintenance can do it without approval from somebody at a supervisor level. So in that case, Tom is going to go through when he sees that request coming through, and he is going to mark the checkbox that says approval required, and then he's going to send a link to the person that needs to complete that task. And so let's say Tom sent me this link here. It's going to look like this. It's going to say that, in this case, I sent this, but Tom has shared front steps. Please review and approve this facility maintenance request. And it has a link specifically for that request. So I click on the link. It's going to open that link up for me, so I don't have to try to remember and then go hunting for it. So in this case here, I'm going to click on Edit All. It's going to open it up. You can see here where Tom had marked requires approval to yes. I'm going to come down here, and again, the person that is receiving this is going to put their name in on it. So if it was me that was receiving this, I'm going to choose my name and click on Save. That's all it takes to approve it. Once you click on that save, Tom is going to receive an email alert that lets him know that that has now been approved, and now he can go through and assign it to somebody. So the approval process happens rather quickly. He opens it up, he sees if it needs approval or not, he clicks on yes, he sends you a link to it, you'll receive an email. So as soon as you go through and click on the link and put your name in for the approval, then he is able to assign that so that can be completed. If the person that is trying to, or that needs to approve it is out on vacation, somebody else who's filling in for them, again, can use these links here in the documentation to go in through, and you can open that up through and see all of the area approvals that are required here. Or you may have on your desktop a shortcut here, area work orders. So if you open this up, it says area work orders requiring approval. So if I go into this, I can see all of the current work orders that would require an approval. Now, if I hadn't just clicked on save on the last one, then the Cold Spring would have opened up for here. So one of the nice things, again, with doing the system is the speed in which we can enter a work order that maintenance supervisors can assign it to staff. Maintenance staff are able to pull this up on their cell phones. And so they can look at any given time to see what is new in the system, what's been assigned to them, is there a priority with it, and they can get things taken care of rather quickly. Once they are in it, and they've completed the task, so they've gone through, they've unstopped the kitchen sink, then they can click on it that it's been completed, the date that they completed it, and who completed it, and then you're going to receive an email that will look very similar to this. It's going to come from the system automatically. It may have my name on it, but trust me, it's coming from the system. It's going to tell you the date that the request was put in, what facility, the location, the description of it, and then who completed it and when they completed it. So you don't have to wonder anymore. If something's been completed, you'll receive that automated notification. That will only go to the person that created the request, the facility maintenance request. So that person will receive notification for that. So again, that makes it nice. Maintenance doesn't have to go through and follow up afterwards to say, oh, by the way, Carlin, I took care of this item. You're going to get a automated response from the system letting you know that that has been done. Last thing, let's say that as a director, I'm concerned because I've heard that the sink over in Colorado is stopped up. And maybe this is something that I've heard about over the last 3 weeks. I'm thinking, is this something that maintenance hasn't fixed? Or is this something that is a reoccurring? And so again, you could use the links here within this document or from your desktop. I'll be putting a link on your desktop for it. And what this allows you to do is to be able to go into the system here. And this is going to show everything that's been opened and completed. So whether or not it's still open or it's something that is open and completed, you'll be able to go into your region, open that up, look at the facilities, and then you will see the history of every single work order that has been opened, whether or not it's still open, so is it requested, or I mean, is the request completed, yes or no. So in this case here, I know that the bedroom move has not been completed. However, we did change a light bulb in that facility. So now I can see if there is reoccurring issues. So the kitchen sink isn't something that's been stopped up for 3 weeks. It's been stopped up 5 different times in the last 3 weeks, and not each time is because of grease that has been poured down the drain. So this, over time, is going to get to where you'll be able to look and see for your region and for your facilities all of the different requests, and you'll be able to see if they have been completed or not completed. So again, that's one of the reasons why in this we have stated, if we go back to the second item here, 1 request item per request, and everything must have a request. That way we can keep track of each time that something happens. If you put in 1 general request that says, okay, I need the kitchen sink fixed, and while you're here, I need some boxes moved, and also we have a light bulb that needs to be changed, it's hard to track things individually that way. That's why we're requiring only 1 item per request, and that one be completed for each request item before maintenance completes it, so that we do have a good history. So again, this 2-step process for opening up one is to check to see if there is one already open in the system. If there's not, then you're going through and complete an open request form from it. Again, you can do that from the shortcut on the desktop or from Lou. Make sure that the region, facility, date and time, brief description of the request, location of the facility, and person making the request is completed before you hit save. And then at that time, it will save. If there's approval that's required as a director or as a supervisor, you may be required to go in through and give approval. Again, you will receive a link in your email that will let you know that one has been, that there's been an approval required for it. All you have to do is click on the link, scroll down through in the maintenance request form down to approval name and enter your name, click on save. Once that's done, Tom will get notification and then he can assign it to people with that. You'll get the email stating that a request has been completed. Again, that only goes to the person who opened the request. If you want to know if something's been completed, again, you can always go to the review of all the maintenance requests in the facility, which case you open it up through here, and if you look at it, then you'll see if something has been completed or hasn't been completed. Again, that's something that's at your fingertips at any given time, so you can see exactly where things are standing. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, have a great day.